everybody to be involved.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Okay, I see you, Kes.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Hi, Steven. I need more reactions, please. More reactions. Hi, Jennifer. Hello. Okay. Hi, Bola. I need you guys to talk. Bolanle, speak up or drop a message. Everybody.
Hello, everyone. Good evening from here.
Miss Aderonke, can you hear us? I feel like you can't hear us, so. Hi, Vincent. Welcome. Hello, Engineer Taiwo. It's lovely to have you here. Okay. I'm seeing a few, at least more than half people have reacted. And before we get into another monthly session, I want to wish everybody a very happy Easter. For those of us that celebrate Easter, for those that don't, probably the Muslims, and happy Ramadan and well done. So this is like an amazing period for everybody. I'm sure we are all at home, probably eating or resting, just basking in the awesomeness of God's love and all of that. And so it's so lovely to have everybody here. Before we go into today's training, before we invite our speaker, who can tell us our topic for today's training? Who knows, so that I will not leave some people on page 10 and I'm on page 20. Who knows exactly what we are talking about today?
Explainer videos are the best way to capture attention, get more followers, and drive.
Akbola, we are hearing your computer sound.
Yes, sorry, I just stopped the music now.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, who knows the theme of today's meeting? Please, I need you to unmute and say something. Who knows exactly what we are talking about today? Our training for today. Okay. Says time management for effective results. Okay, I like that. That's the one that actually understands what we're talking about. Hi, Raymond. Hi, Pearl. Hi, Babatunde Lawal. Okay, more people are coming in. Please keep coming in. I want to see the numbers grow. So today we are going to be talking about effective time management for effective results. I'm sure this time management is something everybody struggles with. I don't know, maybe you people don't, though, but I do. I do struggle with time management, probably because of the silly African mentality of the African time, or that we can always push back or postpone or do it later kind of mindset. And the thing with terrible time management, it bleeds into every area of your life. If you don't know how to manage time, procrastination becomes the order of the day. You become inefficient at your job, even handling relationships and all of that. So time management. Apologies. So time management is very, very, very important. It's something that everybody should have. And we have with us here a skilled speaker on time management, someone that has honed his time management skills, I like to believe. And so we are going to be going into that today. And I believe that by the end of today's monthly training, we have practical and standard way to manage our time and to basically just run our life properly. So without further ado, I want to welcome our speaker. But before we do that, I want to tell you exactly who our speaker is. Can everybody hear me, please? Because it feels like I'm talking to myself.
Yes, loud and clear.
Any other person apart from Akbola, please, I want to hear that
Yes,
voice.
loud and clear, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, so our speaker for today is Engineer Taiwo Popoola, and he's a seasoned ICT and project management professional with over 15 years of work that spans oil and gas and telecommunications industry. That's so amazing. We have really, really powerfully skilled people here. It says he's experienced in hybrid project management and has successfully led simple and complex projects in telecommunications and several multinationals like Ericsson and Nokia Siemens and Huawei across the Middle East and African region over the last 13 years. And he currently works with Ericsson Nigeria as the ICT program director in charge of digital transformation portfolio for a customer unit. He holds BSc and MSc in engineering from Lagos State University and an MBA in management from University of the People, USA. He is a very active volunteer and an active member of 3 Project Management Institute chapters across 3 different continents, not even countries, continents, with continuous volunteering at the board of directors level and other board roles. He's affiliated with the PMI, the International Institute of Business Analysis. He's a registered engineer with Koran. He's also a member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and Society of Petroleum Engineers and many more. So please, ladies and gentlemen, with a loud clap of applause, AI style, let us welcome our speaker for today, Engineer Taiwo Popoola. I'm not hearing the clap. Everybody unmute and clap. Please, let's welcome him. Let's welcome him. Let's welcome him. Engineer Taiwo, it's so lovely to have you here, sir. The floor is yours.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. But before I start my presentation, considering the topic that we have today, how much time do I have?
So I have 45 to 50 minutes, give or take, sir.
Okay, 50 minutes means that I should be rounding up by later. Yeah, okay. So thank you. So thank you. I'm always glad to be part of this kind of engagement. And the last public speaking that I did was for one of the PMI in Asia Pacific. And the experience in speaking with people away from our continent is different from speaking with people within our continent, you know. And like you rightly said, when you mentioned time management, it's part of what they think about Africans, and we need to change that narrative. I joined the session during my last public speaking about 20 minutes before the session, and everybody was surprised. And it was even around midnight for me. And they were surprised that, okay, at this time, and then joining 20 minutes before for an African man, then there is nothing like African time. So in our own little ways, we can change the narrative. I would like to share my screen just to share some few things. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, I think you can see my screen now. You should be able to, I'm trying to put it in presentation mode. Motolani, please, can you see my screen?
I could see for a minute. Okay, I can, but it's not. Okay, yes, I can see it now, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the topic for today is time management for effective results. You know, these are 2 interesting words, time management, and what do you want to use this time management for to achieve effective results. So today's session is going to be more like a gist for me, although it's tagged training, but it's going to be more like a gist. So I want everybody to be relaxed and let's have fun. And, you know, so when you look at the 2 keywords, time management for effective results, so we'll be talking more on the time management and how to use time management to achieve effective results. So just to put a quick disclaimer that whatever I'm saying here today does not represent the organization I work with. It is solely my own, from my own experience, and I stand by it. For the training agenda, which I wanted to write as gist agenda before, but not to look unserious for the first time, I wrote it as training agenda. So we'll be talking about, I will show you some quotes that people have about time management. A lot of great researchers, what they have said about time. Some of them have read their books. And then the definition of this time management and what is even what is effective result. What are the characteristics of time management? The strategy that we need to use to achieve this time management, I'm going to list 7 of them and emphasize on a few of them. Then the conclusion, then just show you a few of the references that I use for this session, and we go into Q&A. I'm on the next slide, which shows the quote, and I want everyone to pay attention to it. So in the next 2 minutes, please look at this quote, and on the chat box, try to drop which of the quote resonates well with you. Just drop the name of the quote. Sorry, the name of the researcher that owns this quote. Just drop it in the chat box. We have to make this an engaging session because it's going to be a gist session, not. I'm trying to see the chat box if I have people commenting on the chat box now. Okay, I can see from Motovani, okay, Benjamin Franklin, okay. Okay, thank you. I can see from Kes Abimake, okay. Yeah, we still have 1 more minute to round up that part. Tolani, thank you. I can see that you mentioned mine, right? Okay, fine. You know, by force, by fire, you have to force yourself to enter the Guinness Book of Records, right? We are doing a lot in Africa that we are not celebrating. So we need to start celebrating ourselves. For me, I'm going to say that apart from the one I added myself, looking at the work of others, I look more on the one with the one from Pericles. This one. It says that time is the wisest counselor of all. If I want to put it in the Nigerian term, right? Time is a counselor. Counselor is somebody that advises you on what to do or guide you or do things the way it should be done, right? So it means that for anyone that needs help, or if you want to get things right, or if you want to get things done, you need to pay attention to time. So in a nutshell, if you want to use street word, it's time will give anybody sense. Let me use that word. So I use that, that resonates so well with me because if the quote says time is the wisest counselor of all. Look at, if you have seen a growing baby, when you look at a baby as a child, the same baby grows to be, before teenager, I don't know what it's called, then teenager, then adult, and you look at how the baby is growing, even look at yourself. The time you were a baby, the time you were an teenager, then the time you are right now, and the time that is still coming in future. It means that we cannot measure any progress. We cannot ascribe success to ourselves without putting an element of time in it. Okay, there was a time I was this, there was a time I was that, there was a time I was this. So at every point that we want to measure progress or success or even bad luck, whatever it's called, right? There is always an element of time. So that is why for me, I said that, resonates well with me, and it has really helped me over the years in setting my own goals, in putting my target, before myself. And I still use some old-fashioned ways of doing things. I'm always with A4 paper to put things down, and I have my notebook as well. That is old-fashioned, right? But it works for me in the sense that I try to put things down, and when I see them, When I see them from time to time, I know that I need to achieve them. So to achieve effective results, you need to manage your time. That is the simple message I'm here to pass today. So all of these codes, all of them, they are speaking to time. Time and ties wait for no man. We are all used to that. Lost time is never found again. Time is free, right? But the cost of time is expensive if not properly utilized. Time is free, but the cost of it is expensive if it's not properly utilized. I'm going to the next slide. So the next slide, I said we are going to talk about the definition. So when you look at time management, this is, I try not to use textbook definitions, but just from practical experience and from credible academic sources as well. So I look, so I want us to pay attention to keywords. Time management involves allocating time efficiently by prioritizing tasks, minimizing distractions, in order to maximize productivity and achieve goals within specified deadlines. So what this simply means, that what I want you to pay attention to is minimize distractions in order to maximize productivity and achieve goals. And these goals can only be achieved within specified timeline. You don't you don't set a goal to be open-ended. You can refine your goal, you can refine the timeline, but you don't set it to be open-ended. There has to be a specific deadline, a timeline for you to be able to measure yourself that, okay, I plan to achieve this in 10 days, but I'm not achieving it in 10 days. Now it's going to be 20 days. There is an element of time in all we do. An effective result, on the other hand, is an outcome. It's just an outcome or an achievement, which meets the expectation of the goals that we have set. Is an outcome or achievement. That is what makes it effective result. So to achieve this effective result in our personal life and professional endeavors, we need to manage time. That is the relationship between the two statements: time management and effective result. To achieve effective results in our personal life and professional endeavors, we need to manage time. And to manage time, let me see. So to manage time, I'm going to the next point, which is the characteristic of time management. And there are two elements I want us to pay attention to, and then that will form the basis of all of the discussions today. The characteristic of time in this context is quantity of time and quality of time. The quantity of time and the quality of time. And to simply put, the quantity is the duration of time, the duration that you spend in doing an activity or a task. If you want to travel from Lagos to, let's say, Ibadan, we know that, okay, within 2 hours, we should be there. That is quantity of time. So there is nothing that we do in life that does not have a quantity of time. But how do you achieve the quality of time depends on how you spend it. What kind of quality that you achieve during that period depends on how you spend it. So the quality of time in this context is what is achieved during that specific duration. Quantity is about the duration we spend in doing the task or the goals or whatever we set to do. But the quality is what we achieve during that specific duration. And to summarize that, to achieve effective results again, you need to manage quantity of time and maximize the quality of time. I can sit down here and spend 2 hours, just be doing the time I'm spending now in talking to you. I can as well spend it, if I was not planned for this session, spend it in doing something else. But what am I going to achieve here? And what am I going to achieve if I wasn't here? That is the difference. That's what differentiates the quality of time that I have right now while I'm speaking with you and the quality of time I would have achieved in the other thing that I would be doing if I wasn't here. So to achieve effective results, you need to pay attention to two things: the quantity of time and the quality of time. The quantity of time, to an extent, right? We have control over it. What do I mean? We have control over that quantity of time, but not the duration. Sorry, the duration, but not the time itself. Nobody has control over time. But I can say right now that, okay, from 4 to 6 p.m., I want to watch Manchester United and Liverpool. Or I just want to watch a skit or a boxing fight online. Or I just want to do this, I want to do that. I have that control to specify that time that I want to use. But if 4 p.m., if we get to 4 p.m. and I fail to start what I've said to do, 4 p.m. will not wait for me. So I only have control over the duration of the time that I want to spend. But I don't have control over saying 4 p.m., don't be 4 p.m. again. Wait for me when I'm ready so that you can be 4 p.m. No, 4 p.m. is not going to wait for me. 4 p.m. will be 4 p.m. And if I fail to start at 4 p.m., then it extends 4:01, 4:02, and that time keeps going. So we don't have control over time, but we have control over that quantity of time that we want to allot to an activity or a task or a goals that or any goal that we have set forward. But to a large extent, this is the difference. Here is the thing. To a large extent, we have control over quality of time. And what that means is, if I set 2 hours to do an activity, right? And if I do nothing within that duration, the quality of time or the outcome of that time, I'm going to bear it, right? But if I spend that time doing something like what I'm doing right now, the quality of that time, I'm going to have it as well, right? So the quality of time, to a large extent, we have control over that. And just to a little extent, we have control over quantity of time, but not the time itself. We have control over both, right? But for quality of time, is very, very, I would like to make a reference to my personal experience. In 2017, in 2015, I did a certification and I failed. And it was so touching that I look at it that, okay, how did I fail? I tried to do self-assessment, but this was a certification that was required for my, let me say, for my work. I had the experience, I prepared so well, but I still failed. So I tried to identify the gap and then set a new goal that this certification, I have to achieve it. Then I set a target that I was going to achieve some certification between 2017 and 2020. And in 2020, COVID came in. And when COVID came in, I had to redefine. But from 2017, I already said 2020 that I was going to achieve a master's. A master's degree and about 4 certifications on my table. But the work was so hectic, so I had to only subscribe for master. So in 2019, I had to redefine. I had to redefine that, okay, by 2022, by 2023, I should have had another master's and complete all these certifications. So when I set the target, it was so, I had the focus, I had the target set. I was looking at it. It was so big, but I know that it was achievable. It was realistic within myself. And I look at it with the situation around me that, okay, COVID was there. During that COVID year, I was locked up in a country for 7 months. There was this global lockdown. We were in the hotel that I was. It was a 5-star hotel, and we were being served food like, like prisoners. And prisoners, I mean, that everybody, nobody knew what COVID was bringing, so everybody was very careful. So they would just ring your bell. Before you open the door, the food is there, everything is there. Then you won't see the person that brought the food. So that was the experience. So it was really frustrating at that time. But I tried that. Okay, nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew when the global lockdown was going to end. I was frustrated for the first 2, 3 weeks into the lockdown. Then I had to talk to myself that I didn't, I don't know when this is going to end. Will I keep living my life in frustration or will I do something else? Then I channeled that energy into doing certifications. And because I already set that goal of the certification before that year, I had them. It wasn't what I stumbled on or what I just wanted to do out of nowhere. I had them, but I was trying to, I was refining them based on the time and the workload I had. But yeah, during that COVID year, I had this time, although not a wanted position, but that was the reality of everybody. We didn't know what was going to happen, when COVID was going to end, when the lockdown was going to be over. So in 2020, that was the year that I had the most certification. And within 7 months, I tried to set a target that, okay, all of these certification, I tried to pick like ones that I was going to have 5 certifications in 7 months. And, looking back, that year alone, I had 7 certifications in 7 months. So the quality of that COVID year, as frustrating as that time was for me, when I look at what I gained during that period, how I was able to turn my frustration into achieving something that was going to be useful and that has been useful, that has been helpful for me to climb the ladder from where I was to where I am now, then I felt like, yeah, it was worth it. So that was my own quality of time in 7 months, achieving those certifications. And achieving those certifications in that year put me back in that myself, my spirit to achieve more certifications. And at the end of the day, I was celebrated across Africa in 2023. Yes, as the first African to have 8 core PMI certifications. I wasn't doing it for that goal. I was doing it for my own personal goal. But when I declared the 8 certification on LinkedIn, a lot of people saw it and it became African celebration. And then they started using it to brag with other PMI bodies from other continents. That wasn't my goal, remember. My goal was for me to do it for myself, to move up the ladder. But something bigger happened. So the quality of time, how you spend that time is the product. The quality of time is the product of how you spend the time. You can choose to spend it anyhow you like, but the result at the end of the day, which is the effective result we are talking about, if you want to achieve it, you need to spend it wisely. That was why I said I like that quote from Pericles that says, time is the wisest counselor of all. So the quality of time is the product of how you spend that quantity of time. My own 7 months has changed my story, and it's a change it for life. Nobody can be the first in Africa again. The second will come, third, fourth, fifth. They can be 1 million, but that first is set, which wasn't my own, it wasn't my plan, but at the end of the day, it became a global celebration. So that is the power of, managing your quantity of time to maximize the quality of time. Moving to the next slide. So I will just be touching on 7 time management strategies. For us to achieve this effective result, we need to adopt some strategies, and these strategies are 7 of them, but there are many of them, but the 7 that are key for me are the ones I've listed there, and I'm just going to emphasize on a few of them. First is to set clear goals. And the second one is to prioritize tasks. Third one, after you prioritize this task, you need to create a schedule. The fourth one is eliminate waste. Waste in this case is not talking about rubbish or garbage. It's talking about non-value added tasks. Eliminate them, stop them, or postpone them, or put them in a bucket. And then, you know, what we are so used to, multitasking, right? Limit multitasking. We are all human. Take breaks when needed. Don't just work at stretch. It reduces productivity. I'm going to emphasize on that, elaborate a bit on that in the upcoming slide. And then the last one would be to use time management techniques. So starting with just to be able to, I want to be within the time I've been given. Setting clear goals is for you to have a focus and direction. I set my goal in 2020 that this year I want to achieve this number of certification. That goal was clear. The direction I was going to follow was clear, and the focus on achieving them. I didn't know that it was going to be 7 months at the beginning. So what I did was in 2020, nobody knew when the lockdown was going to be over. I must achieve these 5 certifications. But at the end of the day, I was able to achieve 7 of them. So that goal was clear. And in setting your goals, you have to, we all hear this word a lot, SMART goals. It has to be specific. I want specific certifications. I wanted business analysis. I wanted IT. I wanted agile certification. So I was specific about the certification I wanted to achieve that year. Measurable, yes, I set 7 months that, okay, this certification, because I was not entirely new to those certifications. I've read about few of them, tried to prepare before then, but there was no time for me to do them. So I knew that within this, from March, this goal started from, the lockdown started 2 days before my exit from that country. My flight was just put on hold. It was 2 days before the exit. So from March, I had that target that before end of that year, I must achieve this number of certification. And I look at it, okay, will I be able to achieve this with the level of experience that I have and the knowledge? Yes. So it was, they were all achievable. I didn't set what I felt like, oh, this was not going to be achievable at all. It's like saying that year I wanted to have a master's degree when I had not even registered. You know, that would have been a joke, because to do masters in that short period without even doing registrations at that time would be something that is unrealistic. So I knew they were achievable, and then this was realistic to my own reality. My reality was those certifications were needed, useful for my career growth and career switch. 2 was career growth and career switch within the IT and telecom industry. So and then the time bound was from the beginning of, from mid-March, or I think it was 2nd week of March, till end of the year. So I knew what I was looking for. I said that time they were achievable. I knew the specific certifications I was looking for. And you know, the third thing I want to mention here is to simplify those goals and break them down into achievable, smaller ones. So what I did was, there were 2 certifications that were they were more on business analysis. I studied for them at the same time, and I did them, I think, 12 days interval. I faced it. The second one was really tough, but because I had prepared and I'd done one before then, I was able to do the second one. It was really stretchy, but at the end of the day, I achieved it. So breaking, goals into smaller, manageable tasks is very, very good to achieving goals. And the next one is the next one on the time management strategy is to prioritize tasks. So if you look at this part, prioritizing tasks is to identify the high priority ones and deal with them first. If not that important or urgent, drop them. So and I would like to use the quadrant by Eisenhower. He's a former US president who was known for his effective time management. And I use this in my day-to-day. I've been using this for over 10 years, and it's been very helpful. When a task is urgent and important, don't ignore, just do it immediately. Do it first. Prioritize it first. This requires immediate attention, like deadlines, emergency, critical issues. I work because I manage team across Middle East and Africa. So we are not all sitting in the same place. In fact, none of my team members is sitting with me. So I get this kind of message on Microsoft Teams from time to time. Hello, can I have 2 minutes of your time for a call? Can I have 4 minutes of your time for a call? My next question is it urgent? They know me for that. Say, okay, it's urgent. Okay, what's the topic? If I see the topic, I will know whether it should be urgent or not. So if it's urgent, I try to drop what I'm doing, then quickly address that, talk to the person. But if I see that the topic is not urgent, I just tell the person, drop the message on Teams. I'm going to respond as soon as I can. So they know me. So I have about 6 of them from different countries. When they want to send me a message on Microsoft Teams, when they see me busy, it's a different case if I'm available. When they see my status as busy, they just write, "Hi, Taiwo, it's urgent." And they put the topic so that they know the questions I was going to ask. They put it there. And if it's not urgent, I think it's what you should know. It's not urgent. They will start with, after greetings, it's not urgent, but for your information, we need to talk about this. So they know I operate, because there are some things you cannot postpone till the next day or the next moment. It requires immediate attention. So that is why, if you look at it, this contract represents high in terms of importance and in terms of urgency. So it is urgent and it is important. For tasks that are urgent but not important, you can delegate. That I do that easily. I delegate tasks a lot to my subordinate to empower them and for them to feel that sense of belonging and feel sense of ownership, and to also improve their own skill. I don't just give instruction all the time. I try to see them, let them also try to, display their potential and, bring out their innovative ideas. So if a task is only urgent but not important, you can delegate. And these are, routine admin tasks, minor issues. If a task is important but it's not urgent, pay attention to it, but you can do it later. For instance, skill acquisition, goal setting, additional qualification or certification, they are important for you. At a point in my life, I had only BSc. As I'm speaking, I have BSc, 2 masters, I'm doing 3rd master. At a point, I had only PMP as a certification. And now I have more than 12 certifications in all. So it's a goal that I set over time. And now I've been able to achieve a couple of them. Although I'm not where I am because I'm a lifelong learner, I love to learn, I love to improve from time to time. So if it's important but not urgent, like long-term goals, please schedule them. If it's not urgent and not important, don't waste your time. You can put them in a bucket that you attend to them later. Don't waste your time on them. If it's not urgent and it's not important, eliminate them. If you don't want to eliminate, just put them in a bucket that you attend to them later. So I use this a lot to do prioritization for my own work, because if especially for project or program management professional, if you don't manage your time well, you have yourself to blame. So the third one is to create a schedule. You can block off time on your calendar to that, okay, this sometimes I try to manage my own time in the sense that I can, block 30 minutes. I don't want to attend to anything official. I can just watch news just to relax. You need to have a schedule of what you want to do within a period of time, right? So you have to create that schedule. And once you create that schedule, another way to create that schedule is to block time for different activities on your calendar, even personal commitment, so that people don't disturb you at those times. So you can use your calendar or use planner to organize your schedule. The fourth one, I mentioned it under the quadrant that I showed earlier. Eliminate waste. Identify and minimize activities that consume time without contributing to your goals. They consume so much time, but they don't contribute to the goal that you want to achieve for a particular period. Please eliminate them, put them aside, avoid unnecessary meetings. Any meetings that I am optional, I don't prioritize it. I prioritize the one that I am required. So we have to also learn how to say no to non-essential tasks. It's not that you have to be rude, but say no and postpone it, put it somewhere else, right? Don't let it, if it's not adding to the goal or to the task that you have at hand, that you have a deadline, please learn to say no to them. And then multitasking is another thing that we celebrate in this part of the world. Though I can do 10 things at a time, I can do 8 things at a time, it's fine, it's okay. I'm not discouraging multitasking, but limit it. The reason is simple. You cannot be as productive as you can if you are not multitasking. Practically speaking, it's not from textbook. It's from my own experience. But should we multitask? Yes, we can, but limit. You want to achieve 10 things at a time. Like, okay, for instance, if I'm doing something if I have a web application that I'm using to run a report, if that web application is slow, I can't just stay be looking at it because I have no control over what happens, right? Because maybe the application itself is slow, the internet connectivity is bad, stuff like that. I can't just be staring at the laptop waiting for it. I can use that time to be checking my emails. That is multitasking, right? You are doing more than one thing at a time, but limit it to maximum 3. That's my own opinion, my advice. Because the more you multitask, it reduces your productivity. At some point, all of those things that you have initiated may just come up at the same time. Which one do you want to deal with? That becomes which one do you want to deal with becomes confusing. So we need to pay attention to that attitude in quote of multitasking. So it's going to can reduce productivity and increase the likelihood of error. That's a fact. And because we are only human, it's good to take break. If I tell you that while we were starting this session, there was a sound, music that maybe, I don't know if it was Dr. Bola or someone else that was playing it. Behind the camera, I was dancing, shaking, just cooling off. Because before this session, I was doing something else. So that was 30 minutes to this session, I stopped just to relax. So try to take breaks in between work as well. Because taking those breaks for a short period of time will energize you again to get on the mood. If you are working, I know for me personally, I know when my productivity is dropping, especially when I'm reading or working. On those two, I know. So when I get to that point, I don't push far more than 5 more minutes. When I still feel the same way, I stop. And to be honest, maybe just taking a break of 1 or 2 minutes, doing something else can change your mood, can give you, can energize you again. So from experience, I've done this and it's working for me. What I do at my own break, sometimes I listen to news, I watch webinar, recorded webinar, or I watch boxing, or I watch football. Just, on YouTube, just watch, something else away from work. When you get back to that work, you feel so refreshed. To manage this time, I'll be rounding up on this, the last time management techniques. There are a lot of them, but I just captured these few ones. And the first one, I would like to quickly share a story about the first one, which is Eat That Frog. In 2016, I had a project that was launched first time, a product that was launched first time in Africa. Sorry, first time in the world. So I had these resources from the US. I brought them to Lagos. I brought some other guys from the Middle East, and then one guy from India. To launch that product is one of our base stations, first in the world. It was newly produced then, but first deployment was that. So I had all of these people together. So, when we are trying to also relate with people, you need to look at their background, where they are from, and try to manage, your words and try to understand how they think. So we finished our meeting that day, and I showed everybody the schedule. Everybody saw it, and they were like, okay, we are going to run this project for like 2 months. Okay, it's fine. Everybody gave their own comment. And then the American said, eat that frog. The following day when we go back to the office, the American said, okay, Taiwo, let's start. Let's eat that frog. And then the guy from the Middle East was like, what's he talking about? I knew what he was talking about. That, okay, he was saying, from the list of the schedule that we listed, from the list of the schedule, let us tackle the most problematic ones. But the message, he said it, I understood it, because I've read it before. I've learned this since before 2010. I knew it, but to the other guys, they didn't know what he was talking about. So the Arabian became offended that, eat what frog? Well, it just started, I just said, okay, relax. So the American became confused that, what, have I said something wrong? This is about the job. So I just had to tell all of them, relax. What it means is this, and sometimes you look at people as, to know the kind of word you're going to use. So he was using the time management techniques, but in a wrong set, right? Because we were, apart from myself and himself, we were about 8. So 2 out of 8 only understood the message he was passing across. So that was just a story to, talk about the Eat That Frog and what that caused. So if you are using it as well, look at the environment and try to, even if you say it, try to explain a bit further, and don't assume. Some background, they feel that you should know whatever they are saying. You should understand, because they feel that maybe what they do is the standard for the whole world. You understand? So that is a wrong perception. When you're working in a diverse environment, try as much as possible to be a bit to elaborate and do not assume. So Pomodoro technique is another thing, is to do activity in short breaks. Time blocking is about dedicating specific time slots to specific activities. To-do list is what I used to do and what I still do, what I will continue to do. I try to have that because my brain is not what can remember everything that I set out to do in the morning at the time I want to do them, and then I will do them at that time without writing them down. No. So to-do list is one of the techniques that has been very helpful for me. The time logging is, if you want to measure how you work per day, you can keep over a period of a week, keep log of your activity for you to be able to manage such activity in future. So time management strategies are so important for managing quantity of time to maximize quality of time. And doing this is key to achieving effective results. So I will be concluding on this note. So to achieve effective results, you need to manage quantity of time and quality of time. And remember that everything we do in life has quantity and quality of time in it. I think I've been able to manage the time that have been allotted to me. So these are just the list of references that I used, and Q&A. So Omotolani, if I pronounce your name well, I think I've been able to manage the time to stop at 4:50, right? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you so much. Wow. That was an amazing session. Well, am I the only one that felt that way? Thank you so much, Engineer Popoola. That was such an amazing session. Guys, I need you people to please talk. Tune in. How was this session for you before we start asking questions and answers? Did you actually grasp? Because I learned a lot. I have so many screenshots. Also, would it be possible for you to share the slides with us? Is there any way we can get it and send to the group?
Absolutely. I will share with Olale, right? Yes, I will share with you.
Okay, thank you so very much for that. I really appreciate this. So I need a few people to tell us what they learned from this before we move to the question and answer session. It was an awesome session, to be honest. It was, especially for me. I don't know about the rest too, but I'm a procrastinator. I'm asking the Holy Spirit to help me deal with it. I'm asking this, and this is a practical step. It's not one magic thing that you have to deduce from reading like 10 motivational books. These are steps that you can actually implement and follow. So guys, what did you learn? I need people to speak. I need you people to talk. Don't type. On mute, tell me what you learned before I start calling out names. Do you want me to call names? We don't have children here.
My hands are raised, though, ma.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Bolali. Tell us what you learned from today's session.
Okay, good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And a big thanks to Engineer Taiwo. The fact that the presentation was more practical than being theoretical was actually one thing that firstly stood out rather from the presentation. And also it helped in highlighting the time management skills. And I mean, some of us already are working with some of them and we don't even know, oh, this is what this means. For example, the acronym,
exactly.
correct pronunciation for it. I mean, like doing short things and intervals and then allocating short times to them, that's also one thing. And yes, I think that part of, is it urgent? Is it important? Is it important but urgent, to see how you can delegate, how you can,
exactly.
Exactly. So yeah, those points actually were very important. So please, I would like to say this before we go ahead to the questions and answers. There are a lot of new people, like people that are not volunteers of Engage with Africa initiative in this meeting. So Engage with Africa initiative is an organization that is into, we're keen into like 4 of the sustainable development goals, which are education, climate action change and gender equality and one other. So we actually have a list of things we do. This one is just like the monthly self-development session that we have for all volunteers to equip ourselves and then to, get better. So I will be sharing the volunteers form. If you would like to be a part of us, I will drop it in the chat box so you can put your details there, you can register, and then we'll take it up from there. So please, Tolani, thank you. You can go ahead.
Thank you very much for that, Bolali. Thank you so much. So please, you are welcome to join Engage Youth. It's an amazing initiative that you will learn from. It's not about you just giving. It's a community that is very, very involved in the growth of their volunteers. So you would really love to be a part of it if you're not. So now for Q&A session, questions, please. Engineer Popoola is still here to answer questions. I need questions. I need you, or everything you taught us, everybody understood it. You don't have any questions. Is that what you're saying? If you do have a question, please, you can unmute. Anybody? Hi, Falashadi. Thank you for joining back in. Is there anybody that has any question?
Okay.
Yes, I do. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So Engineer Taiwo, thank you very much for that section. It was massive. I had to pick up my notes and pen to start putting some things down. So I read a book of recent. The title of the book is Hyperfocus, and this book is written by Chris Bailey. So when I was reading that book, it talked about hyperfocus, talked about scatter focus. When I come across that chapter, I was like, what does it mean to scatter focus? Then I read it. And I discovered that you can be doing 2, 3 productive things at the same time. So I wanted to ask that, is it as the same as multitasking like he has mentioned? Thank you.
Okay. To be honest, I've seen that book before, and one of my resources brought it forward to me, and because I try as much as possible to let them know that there has to be limit to the number of tasks they do per time. Okay, to put it in context, that was why I said limit multitasking. I'm not saying stop. There are other school of thought that says, no, stop. No, you have to do one thing at a time for you to be productive. I don't buy that idea. And that was why I used a very simple example that, okay, if I'm working on a web-based application and the web-based application is loading and I have report to generate from it, will I just wait and be watching it when I don't have control over what happens? Or while I wait, I can be checking my emails or doing some other report or doing some other task. So that hyper-focus and scatter focus is when you are doing more, when you are doing they are similar to multitasking. And this is the similarity. When you are doing, let's say 2 things, your productivity level is different from when you're doing 8 things at a time. You are working on this, working on that, and you count everything is 8. Yes, you have 8 of them lined up. You can be at the peak of 8 of them. To be honest, it will not be more than 30 minutes. Beyond that 30 minutes, you have that scatter focus and you have hyper focus on few of them. And maybe one of them is giving you a lot of troubles, right? That is what is going to take much of your attention at that time. And before you know it, you have spent more time on one and you will have neglected the other ones. So that now creates that scattered focus. Okay, which one should I do next? Okay, which one should I go on next? And before you know it, you spend 4 hours at the end of the day not achieving any one of them completely, not achieving them completely. I said you can achieve to an extent, but completely not one of them. So they are similar to multitasking. That is why I said limit your multitasking. If you are multitasking, limit it to maximum 3. Maybe if you are so smarter than I am, I'm talking based on my own level, right? You can do 4, you can do 5, it depends. But for me, I don't do more than 3 at a time. And that 3, it has to be very, very important. So if you look at it, practically speaking, when you're doing 3 things, like eating 3 food at a time, can you be as fast as eating 1 food? No. So you can be productive, but you can be, let me use this word, you can be productive and maintain that productivity, but to an extent. And that extent is very small. Beyond that point, forget it. Your productivity begins to drop bit by bit. And you see that you can be so focused on one, you just remember, oh, this one has been suffering, then you focus on it. That is, you now have this scattered, focus, and at the end of the day, you may not achieve any of them. So they are similar to multitasking. The solution to that, practically speaking, from my own experience, is to limit multitasking. Thank you. I don't know if I'm able to answer you correctly.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, Engineer Taiwo. I had a question, but I think the answer you gave her just basically answered mine. Because I was going to say I'm a very hyper person. I'll describe myself that way. So I tend to always like to keep myself busy by, as you say, doing too much at a time. And at the end of the day, I realized that I'm not able to get maximum results from everything. So it feels like you are busy the whole day, but you're achieving nothing. So I was about to ask how best to cut back, but then I realized that you gave us rather a quadrant to basically just like prioritize what is important and then do it when necessary. So that will help me to sort out, okay, this is urgent, I need to do this now. Okay, this I can reschedule for it, and this I can delegate, and this I can just like eliminate it. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, please? Okay, Stephen has a question. Stephen, you can ask your question, please.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Engineer Taiwo, for that brilliant session.
Thank you.
It was fantastic. Thank you. Looking forward to having more of this. Okay, so I have a question. You actually touched the part while talking, but I would just like you to elaborate on that. So let's assume someone has a lot of things that he wants to do, or like you had set your goals, specific goals, then you set the time you want to achieve those things. But in the period of time, maybe some things came up, like there was no resources, or maybe you even put in like the example you cited that you set some goals and COVID-19 came in and some things like that. So sometimes you set your clear goals and you set your time, you venture into what you want to achieve, but along the line you discover that you were not able to achieve that thing. And the fault is not from your end, maybe resources or something just happened. So how best can someone handle frustration and pressure that comes from such results? I don't know, maybe you get my question, sir.
Okay, to an extent, I think I get your question, but first of all, let me start by saying don't beat yourself. No matter what life brings to you, don't beat yourself. You're only human. You can only do what you can. Beyond that is something else, right? So let me use myself. I like to, because why I like to use myself is, to an extent, by the special grace of God, I've been blessed with opportunity to experience these kind of things at different times. Okay. I set my goal. There is a certification called PGMP, it's a senior level certification for program management by PMI. And I did my PMP in 2013, which is the global standard of project management certification. And from that day that I passed it, I already planned to do within 3 years, PMI RMP. RMP is Risk Management Professional, and PGMP, which is Program Management Professional. That means that between 2013 and 2016, I plan to achieve at least those 2 certifications. But to be honest with you, like you mentioned, when situations beyond your control, when they come around, how do you deal with the frustration? I started with the PMRMP. Then they stopped. Look at it. I did my PMP, which was my first certification, as computer-based. Went to a center, they logged me in, I did it, I left. Then because of malpractices or whatever that happened in 2014, they stopped computer-based in Nigeria. And it was only paper-based. That you have to go and write 400 questions. Sorry, 200 questions in 4 hours to be writing it. Their objective, you have to now be reading on paper and be taking. So they would take those ones to mark, just like control. And I was not ready to go through that. So the nearest center was Ghana. So my situation that happened that time was they canceled what I felt comfortable with, which was computer-based and not paper-based. And I still needed to do that certification. I prepared, paid my flight to Ghana, flew to Ghana, and failed. You can see, I spent all of that and still failed that. I did computer-based in Ghana, and I failed that exam. Because the result, you will see it immediately. When I saw it, it was so discouraging that, wow, I look at what I've spent, and then I was not going to be able to meet that target. I was so, to be honest with you, as human, I was destabilized. I felt so unhappy. But my wife told me when I got back to Lagos, when I called her that I failed, she said, okay, when is your flight? Come back home. We'll talk about it. Blah, blah, blah. I got back to Lagos. Well, she came to the airport to pick me herself. She didn't want anyone. She were just talking about something different. And then she just said, don't worry, you'll do it again. You'll give it. But for now, let's just forget about it. Don't let it disturb you because I know you are not the one that failed. And look at her. Who failed? I failed. You're saying I was not the one that failed. She was just trying to encourage me, right? I just look at her. My dear, I failed. Forget that one. Then, no, it's not you. I know you will pass it. I said, okay. So it was just, that support system is also important at that time to leverage on. It was not easy for me to handle alone. So fast forward from that year, because of that failure, I wanted to prepare like mad for the next attempt. So I couldn't do it. Then I had this break like, oh no, certifications are not just what you face without adequate preparation. So instead I went for my first master's, which is, I started that in 2017. Okay, let me just do my master's and forget about the certification. But I had the plan of doing them. Then in 2017 was when I set the target of 2020. Before COVID happened in 2020, that I was now able to achieve so those certifications, there were just two of them that I set as at 2013. When the life happens in 2015, I rearranged my journey and I set those certifications to achieve them by 2020. And by 2020, I achieved them. And at that time, by 2020, I was in a position that I had more certification than anybody in Nigeria, project management certifications at that time. Because at that time, I think I had, I had 6 or so in 2020, as at 2020. So what am I trying to say? Yes, you can set your goals, but try as much as possible to make sure that they are achievable, they are realistic to your own reality. Achievable, realistic to your own reality. If those ones are there, fine. You may even you may get close to achieving them and, life happens. And don't beat yourself. Just try to redefine your goals and, shift the goalpost forward. That's it, simple. After all the certification that I've told you that I did and achieved, none of them was paid for by my organization. And the least of them was $530. The least. So I knew also to look at my finances that, okay, if I want to set this, can I achieve them? Can I do this? I was able to achieve, set those goals of 2020 because I knew I was going to travel. And in traveling, we were going to, traveling used to come with some of a lot of other bonus that you could set aside, gain apart from your normal. So in 2019 alone, I flew for 52 times from one country to the other within Africa. So that was, and I knew that I was going to make a lot. And then I said that for my certification, but 2020 helped me. I wasn't planning that I was going to do them all in 2020, but I knew that I was going to achieve most of them. But when COVID came in, I was frustrated for 2 weeks. I was talking to walls of my hotel room, talking to walls, screaming to pillow. I was doing video call with my family, my children, my wife, 2-4 to just be on video. Change from one phone to the other because that was the first time I was going to be locked down in another man's country. Second, that was the first time. Number 2, that was the first time I was going to be in a room to myself alone, and they would serve me food like they're serving prisoner in 5-star hotel. So a lot of things came up to make it a presidential frustration. There is presidential, government, presidential frustration at that time, but I was able to turn it around, right? So to summarize, when you set your goal, if it's not becoming realistic anymore, redefine the goal, but as much as possible, don't be lazy about it, be realistic, and be truthful to yourself. If it's not achievable anymore, shift the goalpost and give it another shot. One thing you don't do is to give up. Don't give up. When you set it, you don't achieve it now. Push it forward. Make sure you achieve it. I still have some goals that I thought I was going to achieve by 2020, but I've shifted to 2025. So as I'm speaking with you, 2025 is not even possible. So 2025 is now 2030. So that's life. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Stephen, I hope that I was able to answer your question.
Yes,
Thank you so
yes.
very much. Thank you so much. So do we have anybody that has any more questions before? I don't want to assume. Okay, I will take that silence. Oh, okay. Agbola has a question. Okay, sir, you can go ahead.
Okay, I don't know why both of you are laughing.
Even me, I'm laughing, right?
Okay, we shouldn't laugh. Okay, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. A quick question. I love your perspective and the strategies you have rolled out, which very, very practicable. I mean, from your personal point of view. So, where would one draw a critical line of mediocrity? Because when you're talking about multitasking over more than three tasks, you're also talking about not giving up. You attempted ones, and for one reason or the other, you're unable to beat with time, deliver on task, then don't give up. So, at what point are you going to, discover mediocrity as a critical aspect of failure, as a critical aspect of not properly being able to handle on time? Then turn it around to be able to achieve effectiveness in delivering results.
Okay, to be honest with you, sometimes one of the things that we do as human, myself inclusive, is to find easier solution to our problem, like to find a way to say, or to give ourselves reasons sometimes to be lazy, or to okay, when something happens, we just say, okay, just find one or two reasons just to be able to justify and feel contented that it's okay to fail. There are a lot of motivational speakers that will say, oh, sorry, it's okay to fail. I'm not against it. It's okay to be lazy. I'm not against it, right? But like I said from the beginning of this presentation, there are two characteristics of time management: the quantity of time and the quality of time. How you manage the quantity of time and how you maximize the quality of time will give you the effective result that you want to achieve. So in doing something, for instance, you have a task at hand, and then mediocrity is what sets in easily. And once you allow it, it becomes like a lifestyle. I don't entertain mediocrity. Like, I listen to people, I listen to my resources, don't get me wrong. I entertain their weakness, their openness, transparency. But once I spot mediocrity, I listen, talk for 2 hours. I will get you back on track. If you want to talk for 5 hours, I will listen, but I will get you back on track. That's it. You cannot procrastinate. You cannot be mediocre on this project. You cannot pull everybody back. I listen to your rant, I listen to your whatever you want to say, but I have to put your focus back. So, that is myself and a subordinate. But now to myself, sometimes we want to give ourselves reasons to miss deadlines, to fail in doing something. If it's one-off, it's okay because you can't be perfect. So where I draw the line is If that thing happens the second time, then it becomes it becomes critical for me to deal with. So in dealing with mediocrity personally is, if it's one-off, yes, I put attention to it, like I look at it. But if it's happening the second time and I trace it back to myself, to my own mediocrity, no, I have to seriously talk to myself, not to allow it to ever happen again. Not maybe after sometimes it may happen, no, not to ever happen again, because when you allow that mediocrity to set in and become like a better part of you, that becomes who you are. How we manage time is part of the quote that I mentioned from the first slide. It shows who we are, right? So so that is for the mediocrity. In terms of multitasking that I said earlier, you see, I'm not saying don't multitask. It's fine, it's okay. But don't overload yourself to the extent that you plan to achieve 8 things. Ordinarily, if you have limited yourself to 3 of them, you will have achieved all the 3. But at the end of the day, you are not even halfway of the 8 that you set out to do. That is not productivity. So we have to pay attention to that. You can multitask. Multitasking is what? Doing more than one thing at a time. Simple. There is not, so a lot of people can give it different meaning that, okay, you are just jack of all trades, you are doing many things at a time. No, you can give it all kind of names. But the simple meaning is doing more than one thing at a time, which is possible. But don't overload yourself with many things that at the end of the day, you are not able to achieve one. So my advice is to understand yourself and limit. To be honest with you, I can do excellently well doing 2 things at a time, only 2. I can do fairly well with 3, and I don't want to go beyond fairly. If something else comes in, yes, I just take it, put it, pen it down, put it aside. And once I make progress, meaningful progress on the 3, then almost at the end point or to my desired point, then I can look at the 4th one. That is me. Maybe for you, it can be the 6th one. So that is for managing multiple activity at a time. And if you now want to link that to maybe you fail and then you don't want to give up, sometimes, right? Failing in our task, because we are just like, we are human, right? We are where we are. There are a lot of external forces that people are not seeing that we deal with internally. Now, when they eat at you sometimes, it becomes so hard for you to even stand up from your bed, not to talk of being active to work. So you need to understand yourself. Those moments are there. Look at those moments and see that, okay, at this time, I may not be at my best, but what is bad or what will be bad is for us not to try to get out of that moment. There is nothing, it is not a taboo to fail, but it becomes like a problem when you make failure your way of life, or because you want to give yourself excuses of, yes, I failed. Okay, Taiwo also failed. Kenny failed. This one failed. Yeah, I should fail. No. Understand why you failed and try to deal with it, and don't give up. So give it another shot. But understand, assess yourself. Is it due to my own there was an exam that I failed that I knew that in that 2020 that I told you that I achieved many things, right? I failed an exam. Why? Because when I overrated myself and underrated the exam. Because I passed about 6 of them, I just felt, okay, why won't I pass this one? I knew that I didn't do enough preparation. And to be honest with you, I failed. Then when I failed, I said, oh, really? Me failed this? Then I did the assessment. I saw that it was completely my own error. So in that case, it's not because someone else had failed somewhere before. No, it was because I engineered the failure. right? So understanding that moment, understanding from your own personal assessment, understanding why that happened is very critical. So don't mediocrity can set in for anybody, but understand that this is mediocrity and deal with it. First point. Second point, I'm trying to summarize. Second point is when you are multitasking, limit it to what you can deal with. Don't overload yourself. But saying you should not multitask, it starts to be one activity per time. That also can slow you down a lot and you may not achieve as much as your potential can. So limit it to what your own, what you can achieve. And in terms of failing and standing up to give it another shot, do self-assessment to know why you failed or why that happened or why you were unable to achieve the task or the goal that you set forward, and then re-strategize. So the question, another question is, even if you do all of this, if you fail again, then reassess. Because life is about continuous learning. If you know that even when you pass, it's a lesson for you that, okay, you still need to learn more to be able to be a master or to be like a, let me say, like a voice in that particular field, then you continue to learn. Don't even see success or pass as the end point. It's the starting point for you to continue to learn. So those three things, that's how I'm going to address them personally. And it has to come back to you understanding yourself, doing your own self-assessment, understanding your limits, and see how you are going to deal with it after reassessment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just keep saying thank you because today was an eye-opener. It was an eye-opener. So I hope that everybody learned something from this, and I hope that we don't just take these lessons and drop them somewhere. I hope that we implement them, that we actually work on these tools and see our life get better for it. Thank you so much. For non-volunteers, please check the chat box and click on the link if you really want to be a part of us. Click on the biodata form and fill it. Thank you so much, Engineer Taiwo. It was an honor. It's an honor and it was a pleasure. God bless you. And God continue to give you more knowledge in Jesus' name.
Amen. And thank you guys for hosting me as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we've come to the end of today's training session. By next month, by the time we're having this next month, everybody needs to come up with testimonies. Should I use the word testimonies? Yeah, let me use that. Assignment for next month's training session, because it's supposed to be a training session, not just a public speaking occasion. So you are going to implement the steps given, and then you're going to tell us next month exactly what difference it made. So everybody, please try to implement this time management steps and strategies, and let us come back next month when we are going to have the next training session. You're going to come and speak on exactly how this training session impacted your life, what difference it made, and basically how your life improved. So I'm going to call on Agbola to round us up, and then we'll leave for today. Thank you very much, sir. Agbola, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tolani, for moderating this training today. Well done. And again, on behalf of Engage Youth Africa Initiative, I want to appreciate Engineer Taiwo for honoring our invitation and for sharing the wealth of your knowledge with our community. I'm sure from the responses and the questions that you've addressed today, to see how much you have impacted us. We can only commend you and wish you higher heights in your future endeavors. Thank you so much. And we look forward to hosting you again in the near time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bolan. Thank you, everyone. I will be more than happy to come back again. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, definitely. That will make happen. Okay, so let me also use opportunity to appreciate all those that just joined our training session for the first time. I can see quite a number of names there. Um, Adebayo Kabirat, Bitokun Oluwapelumi, Abatunde Lawa, Folashavi Ajibade. Thank you so much for joining us. We have this training once every month. We're going to be having another one in April. So you can kindly drop your contact so that once the details of the training is out, we can put you on a correspondence and send an invite to you. And if you so wish, you can join our community. Bolale did well in explaining to you what we do here in Engage with Africa initiative. This is just one of our activities which is focused on capacity building, expanding our field of horizon, in ensuring that we are built up properly in order to create a bigger prospect for ourselves in positioning ourselves for being change makers that we have in our communities. So we are basically focused in impacting our communities, and we take it one at a time. So we have some girls that are currently sponsoring the school. Few of them are currently in university. We are hoping to do more, so reach out to more youth in communities with least opportunity. So feel free, you can join us, lend your services and passion, to be part of what we are doing at the global space. We also have a team working in Ghana and also in Kenya. So I know when you persist participating in our activities, you'll get to meet our teams in Ghana and Kenya as well. Lastly, you may also want to follow us on our social media because we are social. I'm going to share my screen briefly, so you can just copy or take these details. We also share, for those of us that have dropped our details, we're going to share it with us, but you can just take and spend one days and take the details down. Follow us on social media, on Facebook, on X, on Instagram. Then we have a YouTube channel. You can be rest assured this video is going to go our past events, that's outreaches, and also our past monthly trainings that are also there. You can check our YouTube channel to watch some of our past trainings as well. So basically, this is what we do, and I want to encourage all our volunteers. Let's not give up. We've heard it today. Some of our goals, Q1 just ended, or is going to end tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow is 31st. It's going to end. All our teams, our adventure, there are some of tasks that we've set to do that we are yet to fulfill. Some of the results we have not been able to deliver. This is an opportunity for us to reappraise areas where we failed and reprioritize our goals and let's aim for the greater heights and better results as we move to Q2. And trust me, communities are waiting to receive an impact. Nations are waiting for a manifestation, and the global world is looking forward to us bringing about that transformation that is most desirable. So let's not relent, let's not give up, and in time we're going to see the effects of the results. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and I look forward to us engaging again next month. God bless you all. So over back to you, Bolandi, or I mean, sorry, Tolani, if there is any other announcement before we round up.
Thank you so much, sir. There's no announcements for now. Okay, I don't have any announcement. Someone just wrote in the chat to get his LinkedIn address, and I think someone just replied. Oh, okay, Mr. Engineer Taiwo, I think you can check on LinkedIn. You should see Engineer Taiwo LinkedIn profile on.
Yes,
Engineer Taiwo, we want to have your LinkedIn. Apologies.
Oh, okay.
I also drop the link in our WhatsApp group. So you can
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Part of the family.
Okay, so you will definitely get his LinkedIn on the WhatsApp group, and then we can all follow.
This slide will be shared with everyone after.
Yes, please. Also, the slides are.
Yes, I will share it.
Okay, so we can end at this point. Thank you so much, everyone. a good point to say happy Ramadan, happy Easter holiday to everyone.
Happy holidays.
Rest
Bye.
and enjoy. Yeah, bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.